Hello, everybody, and welcome to another rant off-season video. This time, we're going to be discussing the running backs. About 2 weeks ago, we did stuff on quarterbacks. So today, we're going to handle the running back position. And just like that previous video, this is by no means a comprehensive top 5 list of any kind. These are simply 5 guys that I have stuff pulled up for that I want to talk about. So before diving in, I want to quickly say if you are new, subscribe, greatly appreciated. Leave a like and comment down below your thoughts on any of these backs I talk about or any other running back free agent that is available. In about 2 days, we'll discuss the draft prospects. So with that being said, let's kick things off. We're going to talk about Najee Harris first. And I want to touch on Najee Harris first because he hasn't really been talked about in the light that I feel like he should be, at least not in like most media circles. I'm sure within Steelers fan circles, he's getting the praise he deserves. But he's had 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons, with this last year being his second best season of his career, at least yards wise specifically. He's averaging about 7 touchdowns a year. Like, he's playing a very solid job. He's playing very well as a running back, but obviously just maybe the part of it is like, oh, he's being aided by that Steelers offensive line. But I mean, again, very solid job rushing, doing a decent enough job as a receiver as well, and just overall being a very nice piece for that Steelers team to have over the past 4 years, when they've kind of been in a very weird limbo period the past 4 years, going from a pretty aged Ben Roethlisberger in his rookie year to Kenny Pickett in 22 and 23 to Justin Fields and Russell Wilson last year. It kind of just hasn't been like a very solid building block around Najee Harris. And a lot of that goes into the fact that he's also a running back, and it's very tough to gauge how a running back's production will be year in, year out. But Najee has been one of those guys where he has been very consistent every year and has been a pretty solid runner every single year. So he's definitely going to be getting his name thrown around. I would not be surprised if Pittsburgh keeps him. I would not be surprised if he goes somewhere else. Spot Track has his expected contract to be signed at around 3 years, 9.2 a year, which doesn't feel too far off from what he'll probably get. But at the same time, it's the idea of it is a more so power back becoming a free agent for the first time. This is really his one true chance to get a big contract, or at least maybe or at least that's the case because again, NFL GMs don't really handle the running back position properly. So I expect Najee Harris to be playing that into account as well, and kind of just figuring out I need to get the most bang for the buck here and take the highest paying offer, which that could very easily be a 3-year 9. It could be a 4-year 4. It could be 4-year 4, a 4-year 10. It could be who knows. And honestly, not really a great way to gauge to where either. Again, I would like to see him go back to Pittsburgh and stick with that offensive line that they have and stick with that consistency that's there. But the Steelers are also a team where he might not feel that they can get the most out of him after just seeing what Saquon was able to do his first year out of the team that drafted him. So with that, I would not be surprised if Najee Harris is on the move. I would not be surprised if he gets a bigger contract than the 3-year 9.2 annually that is expected. I also would not be surprised if he is one of the more highly touted free agents for a team that is looking for a running back. So next up, we're going to talk about J.K. Dobbins. Career year for J.K. Dobbins. It felt so good to see J.K. Dobbins performing as well as he has been, because he has been going through so many injuries, and it's because of all those injuries where we might see a contract not fully represent what is deserving in this offseason. And it kind of does suck for J.K. Dobbins, but that's just the nature of things. The running back position is already a position that does not get viewed highly by GMs. And a running back that has been injured pretty much every single year of his career besides his rookie season is not going to come with a high dollar value. But again, even though career year played really damn well, was a massive part to that Chargers offense, it's still just a case of it's a running back that has a bunch of injury issues. So the contract is going to reflect it. Spotrac has it at a 2-year, $8 million deal, so about $4 million annually. And I would love if J.K. Dobbins is able to get that. I would love if he's able to get a deal that's similar to Najee Harris. But with the injuries in the fold, with it being a career type year, and with it being a really, hey, you've done your rookie season really well and stayed pretty much healthy, and you've done this past season at a pretty much healthy level, playing really well. We want you to prove it once more before giving you a longer term deal. So I'm expecting more so to be a 1 year 5, if anything. And I really, really hope he goes back to LA and goes back to the Chargers. It is just a really, really good fit for him there. And there's a reason he had that much success, and he was a massive part of the offense, which he hasn't been since his rookie year. So I love J.K. Dobbins and what he was able to do despite all the adversity he has shown. But he needs to, for a lot of NFL GMs, he probably needs to prove it once more, and he needs to stay healthy with it. And I think the easiest way to do all that is to go back to the Chargers, where you already know you can be a staple part of the offense, and you already know you're going to be able to perform well, and just take a 1 year deal. And honestly, the Chargers might give you a 2 year deal, considering how much of a factor you are to the offense. So I do think the Chargers will be the best fit for J.K. Dobbins, all things considered. So next up is going to be Aaron Jones, and another player where he's a hit or miss type of running back. I mean, he had 3 good years in Green Bay. Last year was a good year in Minnesota for him, but it was still a year where it's his age 30 season and he performed well on a team that overperformed. So how much is it really the caliber of play he can give you at this point of his career versus, hey, this Vikings team, everyone overperformed expectations this year, and he was a byproduct of that. I think Aaron Jones can be the type of back that can be is a legit threat as a weapon if given the opportunity. But at this point, I could see a team signing him to be a running back too, or to be kind of just a back where, hey, you're not gonna get all these carries and attempts a game. He had about 15 carries and 15 attempts with Minnesota last year. I would not be surprised if that number goes down with where with whoever he signs with. If it's not Minnesota, I would like to see him back in Minnesota as another case of, hey, this entire team needs to prove themselves this year. That last year wasn't this crazy anomaly, but we'll see. Spot Track has this contract at a 1 year 5-5, which does make sense to me. I could see it being a 1 year 5 or a 1 year 6 or even a 1 year 6-5. But nonetheless, I do think that range is going to be a good spot for Aaron Jones, and I do think he's going to be a type of back where it's gonna be type of back where he might not see the field all too often, given the type of offense the team is running. But when he's on the field and when he's getting the opportunities, he will make the most of them, and he will find ways to earn that money during the season. So whether you give him incentives or just a signing bonus up front, Aaron Jones is going to be a pretty solid back for you going forward. Next up, AJ Dillon is an interesting name for me because he was drafted in the same class as Jordan Love in the second round, and was another case where Jordan Love was drafted to be the successor to Aaron Rodgers. It felt like AJ Dillon was drafted to be the successor to Aaron Jones, but just he hasn't really grown into that running back one role, and part of it is on Green Bay for bringing in Josh Jacobs and really like exemplifying that ground game with Josh Jacobs. And also the fact that before Jacobs got there, it was Aaron Jones 1, AJ Dillon 2. But it's the case where AJ Dillon, for the opportunities he's been having in Green Bay, it is solid enough for a running back. It's 41 yards a game. He had 2 touchdowns last year, and just overall, like his receiving, he became a much more surefire pass catcher last year, only dropping 6 passes compared to the damn near 20 of other years. But it's still just a case of he's a running back 2 in Green Bay. Can the team really sign him to be a running back 1 without really having that much of a clip for him to be the running back 1? I mean, in his career so far, he has started 11 games out of the 60 he has played in. So, like, if you look purely at those 11 games, what's the kind of clip you get? What's the kind of production you get in those? And can he be a legit running back 1? Or do we want to just sign him for a running back 2? And that does play into a factor with the contract he will be getting. Spotrac has him at about 1 year, $2 million deal, and I'm not too surprised about that either. I can see it being a 2-5, I can see it being a 3, but nonetheless, it is going to be more so that, hey, we're going to sign you to either a prove it 1 year deal as a starting back, or we're going to sign you as a case of we just need a running back 2 for this season while we draft a younger guy and work him up to be the true running back 2 or running back 1. So as much as I liked AJ Dillon coming out of college and I liked the way he played early on in his career, it's just a case of he hasn't really developed the way the Packers expected. He hasn't developed in the way a lot of people expected him to develop, and it's gonna show in this market for him. Does he come back? Does he return to Green Bay? Does he go elsewhere? Really, who knows at this point with him? It's really, I would not be surprised by any stretch of the imagination where he goes. And the more interesting piece will be what kind of role does he have in that new location. The final back we're gonna talk about, and I'm saving this for last because the spot track contract for him is mind blowing to me. But it's Nick Chubb. So Nick Chubb, coming off of that devastating injury in 23, returned to play 8 games in 24, and in those 8 games, he was a solid running back, all things considered. It wasn't Nick Chubb level of productions, but you can't really expect that out of him after just coming back from a devastating injury. But he still gave Denver 3 touchdowns and 330 yards. But it's just the nature of he was coming back from injury. He was getting his feet under him again. Now in 2025, he's going to be healthy again, and he's going to be able to be good. And he's going to be able to get back to that Nick Chubb type level of runner. And the fact that he's a free agent this year is interesting. And then you look at the spot track expected value for his contract, and it's a 1 year 3.3. If Nick Chubb signs a deal for $3.3 million, and I do not hear it's either with Miami or Miami was in the running to get him, I will be pissed off. I do not expect Nick Chubb to get this low of a market value. And yes, the injury is definitely a factor into this. And I understand that teams are gonna be scared with the injury and scared with the fall off of production. But I'm not holding a 3 yard a carry season against him when he's coming back from a devastating injury the following year and only playing half the games. I still think Nick Chubb can be that main back like he was before the injury, and I still think Nick Chubb can be this. Hey, I'm the main head of a backfield duo or trio. You give me the ball, you know I'm gonna get you a good amount of yards. I still think Chubb can be that. I still think a team is going to sign Chubb to be that. So because of it, I see his contract more so along the lines of a 2 or 3 year deal, going more so close to that 6.5 or $7 million a year range. Because I do still think Chubb can be that type of back. I would not fault a team for signing him to a 1 year 3.3. In fact, I would love that contract for any team to sign him to. If he's willing to accept that, you sign him to that kind of deal. But at the end of the day, I don't think Nick Chubb is worth that. I think he is worth more. But obviously, who knows with how this injury is going to affect him into 2025. I don't think it will that much, and that's why I'm here saying he deserves more money. Well, with all that being said, thank you all for tuning in. I'll see you all next time when we discuss running back draft prospects. Have yourselves a damn good one. I'll see you all next time. Peace.